Howdy folks, so welcome back to Mine Mogul. We are on the very last quest, at least as of the game state right now. We got a lot of stuff to do. We've got 5,000 each of all the different things you can make with all three ores. We need 20,000 coal, and then we need 1,000 of the 2 gems, except for the ruby. We just need 500. So as you can see down here, I've been stockpiling gems as I work through the last of the other Mine Mogul quests. Or was it, what was it called? Metal Master? Yeah, the master ones. Got through all those. And I decided to stockpile the gems because we're going to need a lot of them. So I've got a big pile there. I've got a little pile over here. I had this set up. Changed it a few times, but I had this set up to work through the last of the copper stuff. So I've got a bunch of copper coming in right now, and at the moment we're just kicking off ingots. Basically everything's getting sold because I've got the bypass in place. So we need to come down here, we need to build some stuff to start making some things. This ingot is stuck in the floor. I'm not able to get it out. Ooh, it actually moved a little bit. Hey, I got it. I tried a few times to get that out. Guess I pulled on at the right angle that time. I don't have a ton of room here, but I think it's enough to set up a production line anyway and just start knocking some of this out. I'm gonna go ahead and do the copper stuff since I've already got the auto miners set up for copper. I should mention I went through and I ripped out everything and I started completely over. I do have it coming down through the ceiling from the little secret room up there. That's why I've got all these conveyors here that kind of look wonky. And then I had a massive pile of backlog stuff that I was putting on this conveyor. It's not actually doing anything right now. But right now I just have copper coming in. I think there might be some coal here and there. Possibly occasional iron ore because some of them are not 100% copper. But it's pretty much all copper all the time. And if I can get back over there. So far the one crusher keeps up plenty fine, even with a ton of copper coming in. We'll see if that continues to be the case. The struggle has been getting them to go into the smelters evenly. So I'm trying this. I've got the big splitter, and I've got the sweeper splitters over here. We're going to see how that goes. So far, so good on that. But we're just now getting ramped up to full production, so we'll have to see what's going on. And we got a little bit of a mess down here, it looks like. Looks like they're occasionally getting hung up. We need to get some production going. Get you on there. You on there. I mean, we do need ingots as well, but I can always just put it in bypass mode to get the ingots. So what's the easiest? Probably the easiest to do would be copper rods. I remember right, the rod makers are fairly fast. Do I still have a rod maker? I do have some rod extruders. Let's see, we can get the smelters back out of here. We don't need those right now. So yeah, we have the rod extruders. Let's try like 2 of those and we'll see how we get along. So let's just do 2 here. We should be able to come back. Off of it this direction. And then we'll get one of the... Should we do the sweeper splitter? Let's try that. We'll see how we get along. Let's see, we need to rotate that this direction. There we go. And we just need to come over to here. Like that. That will get us some rods, and then we can just dump in. The challenge has been the inventory size. It's the struggle. Alright, those can just dump in there. These can dump in there as well, but we will do the well, yeah, these are a little bit of a struggle. I think conveyors would probably work okay for these, for the rods. So let's just do that. And then I think they'll just dump in there. It's a corner piece. All right, let's try that. Let's flip the bypass here. Start kicking them over this direction. And we should get a bunch of rods coming through. You can see we already got 200 ingots. The ingots are flowing. We'll see how we get along here. I think the rod extruders are pretty quick. Yeah, I don't know if the sweeper's the way to go here. Might be better off with just the normal splitter. So let's put this back in bypass mode. If I can get the prompt to show up. There we go. Problem with the sweeper is it's kind of indiscriminate. It just does what it wants to do. Let's try just the regular splitter like that. See how we get along. Jump up here. And the rods are going in just fine. So this video is probably going to take a while to record because it's just going to take a ton of time to work through all these. But my plan is to record a few bits here and there of my different setups I have as we work through the quest. And we'll show those off. That's the plan. And I'm not even 100% sure this is going to work. It may take some experimentation. But it looks like we're doing alright. We've got pretty much a steady stream of ore coming in. And I'm using the big bulk sorter. I guess I should show that. So basically we're pulling out copper. And we're pulling out coal. And I think, does that have the gems in it as well? Can't get up there. I have to put a conveyor down just to get up here. Actually can't remember what's in here. Oh, it is just coal. So we're pulling out coal, and then the coal goes through the wash plant. And then anything that's not copper or coal falls through the middle. And as you can see, it comes down here. And then we're pulling out any gems that may be in here. We're polishing them, and we're dumping them on the ground. Now that we're doing this, we need to get those piped up so they actually go out and get sold. So we can work on that. Should we just go on up the... let's go on up in the air, and we'll come over and we'll get dumped onto that line. I think that's the play. Is that going to work? That's a little high. To get creative here. Sometimes it's a struggle to get it to go where you want it to go. My head's hitting the ceiling, so that's not helping. There we go. I think we just go over here and dump onto that belt. I think that will work. And of course we have all these we need to dump in. Can I make it over there? If I keep pointing in the sky, no, I drop some. There we go. Have some of those. Oh boy. Oh boy. Let's just clean up this mess. We'll lose some ingots, but there's plenty more where those came from. Some jewels fall down, but that's okay. We'll just send those on their way. They're already polished. See if that gets hung up. The so far it's keeping up. The rod extruders are faster. Plates have been a real problem. So we'll face that in a little while. Up you on there, and we'll see what falls off. There we go. And then we got that giant pile over there to get. Oh, look at all the gems. Gotta love it. I was pulling a lot of those out as I was working through the rest of them, so... The rest of the metals. Ooh, this may get jammed up from the looks of it. To kind of keep an eye on that. Let's see if we can get all these gems dumped in there. Oh boy. All the gems. Get in there. That should go a long ways towards the goal. A little lost ingot here. There, we'll put you on the conveyor. Accidentally pulled you off. There we go. Make all those numbers go up. And then we had a little bit of a mess over here. I got a little carried away with the throwing. I think I got the bigger hopper. And looks like we're not quite keeping up. All right, we're gonna have to re-engineer this. Put this back in bypass mode. We'll sell ingots for a little while. Yeah, as fast as these rod extruders are, they're just not keeping up. So we're gonna have to split this multiple times. We don't have enough. Or I could split it and sell half of them. Either way. I have enough. I don't know if I have enough room here to do that. So maybe I'll just put a splitter here. And even when we're not in bypass mode, we'll end up selling off half of them. Let's try that. Meanwhile, back at the ranch. Some of those are going to fall off right there. I need a merging conveyor here. Or just go up. No, I don't have enough room to go up there, do I? Alright, oops. We're gonna have to get fancy. Try that instead. It's a little janky, but you know what? It's the way I roll. Maximum jank. Okay, and then we'll see if we can get half of these to come through. See if we can get these pulled out. Some of them get stuck in the geometry and whatnot. And if you can't get them out, it's not a big deal. Alright, let's put you back on full mode. Awesome. This is a problem you run into at when you start ramping up the production pretty fast. Lots of ingot log jams. Nice. Then the physics finally takes over. Okay, we are getting rods coming through. There we go. How are we looking over here? Got a little guy stuck back in here. One thing I've noticed, these, depending on the like input angle and stuff, they tend to favor one side, it seems like. So we're selling way more ingots than we're actually passing through. So not the best. I wonder if this would be a good case for the robot arm. I mean, it's sort of working. And we do need to sell ingots as well. So it's not like we're wasting ingots. There needs to be a little more room there. This is not ideal, but it's not terrible. So the robot works like a merger. I think I sold the robot. I don't think I have it anymore. So I don't know if that would necessarily help anything. The splitters just need to work better. These work pretty well for like ore. They don't work as well for ingots. I could try putting a... I think I sold it. I could try putting the ingot straightening conveyor in there. Let's try that. So do I still have my wrench? Let's get rid of 2 of these supports so I can walk through there better. Got so much stuff. Let's see. What was I getting? The conveyors, the ingot straightening conveyor. Let's try one of those. So let's put this back in bypass mode. I thought this was too long. Guess not. It'd be better to have that in the middle, maybe. I don't know if that'll help any, but let's try it. Nice. It almost makes it worse, doesn't it? Well, I don't know. It's not terrible so far. And it starts getting jammed up over there. Now, you can use the sweeper, like the upgraded. But what I found is it tends to sweep stuff off, and you end up with big piles of stuff. So you start getting a log jam, and then it kind of forces its way through. It's mostly working, I think. Percolating on through. Let's see how we're doing in the ore department. Yeah, we're not overflowing anywhere, so that's good. One iteration of this, I had it pulling out this small ore, but it didn't really seem to gain anything. So I just let the small ore pass through the crusher. It will pass through, it doesn't get deleted. There's a lot of copper ore coming in. So let's go take a look around. Probably need one of these guys so I can get up there. So if you're not familiar with the hole in the ceiling, if you come up here and go through here, come in here, and somebody told me about this, and I had this room hooked up. And at first I didn't see the hole in the floor over there, so I had this crazy conveyor set up coming down through here, and then was trying to get it to bounce right. I never could get it to set up very well to bounce down through this hole. And then I happened to look up over there in the main room. I'm like, oh, there's a hole over here. I totally missed that the first time. There's a hole right here. So this drops down to that main room. So we're pulling a bunch of ore out of here for copper. That's what's falling out of the ceiling. If you're curious, you can actually, it takes a lot of finagling. You can actually get the ore down through here. You can have it drop down this hole. It's just not nearly as efficient. So then also have the copper from back in here. Got a couple auto miners over here doing copper. And then if we go across the bridge, we got a whole bunch of copper coming in from across the bridge. Ooh, node. So we've got 3 right here that are doing copper, and then we've got, is it 3 or 4? There's 4 down in there doing copper. So that's why we have a lot of copper coming in. So 4, 7. There's 7 just on this side of the bridge. And it takes a while now when you turn off and on the auto miners for the flow to start and stop because there's so much conveyor going on here. That just dumps on there, and then we've got, so that's 7, and we got 2 more there. So that's 9 regular auto miners feeding up through here. That's why it's pretty much a steady stream of iron, or sorry, of copper. And then we've got the 2 that are shooting down through the ceiling from up there. Then I've got, I think it's 3 back in here. They're not quite as efficient. You can see there's a decent amount of iron coming through from there. We run all the way back in here. This was our first copper room that we found when we were expanding. There's, I think there's 3 back in here. Let's make sure we're just sending through copper. You're just iron. So we don't care about you. I'll actually get rid of that one. But this one is definitely copper. That one is copper. Alright, we'll turn off the iron. That's just flooding in ore that we don't need right at this particular point in time. So we'll get rid of that. I forgot that one was spitting out iron. So what's that, like 11 auto miners bringing in copper ore? And I'm stuck. You can crouch jump though. So that's the setup we got, and it seems to be working pretty well. Nothing is getting overloaded so far. I went through a lot of different iterations, and this arrangement is much larger, but I had a more compact setup, and it just, there was no good way to split these because the turn and stuff. It's kind of hard to explain, but it just wasn't splitting it evenly. And so I went with this, and this seems to be working okay. So far, so good. We'll see if it continues to keep up. Run! Can't get through there. Can get through here, though. So how are we looking over here? We don't have a bunch of ingots piling up yet, so that's good. I still kind of want to do more rod extruders. We're just a little tight on the room. I feel like we could do more. What are we doing on numbers though? We have, we're over 500 on the rods. Doing on time. We're doing okay on time. Maybe we'll put this back in bypass. Let's see if we can do better. So I thought about building in the other bigger room back there, but then it's such a long conveyor to get to the dump point. I haven't gone through with that yet. Why are those getting stuck there? It's kind of weird. You can't put stuff down where there's rocks, so that's why this sticks out so far. It doesn't give us a whole lot of room, but it's a start. Alright, we have run through our ingots, so let's see if we can do any better here. Not super happy with this. No, that's a pipe roller. Rod extruder. I've got 3 of these. Let's see if we can run 3 of these. So we had 3 of those lined up. Can we feed them and then we could just go over and into the bin? Can we come up with a way to feed 3 of those with the various splitters we have? I don't think we have a... Yeah, we don't really have a merge. Ooh, I could... Wonder if I could use the robot, but then it's so fast it might still overwhelm these. Well, if I did this, I could come down here and split these guys. I'm just spitballing here. We'll see if we can get something to work. We give 1 conveyor so they have a little bit of time to kind of straighten up, sort of. Oops. T instead of R. Would that work? Maybe. I mean, it's not ideal, but let's see what happens. So worst that could happen. Doesn't work. Go back to the drawing board. Alright, let's crank it up. See what happens. Definitely need more. I need more room here. It doesn't hardly have enough room to come out of the polisher. I could maybe move the polisher over there, but then we wouldn't be selling the polished. I could send everything through there, I guess. No, I wouldn't want to send everything because we have some coal and junk coming through. I don't know. There's always ways to change it up and optimize it. Let's see what happens with this. Does it get overwhelmed and start breaking? Maybe. Uh-oh. We have rods falling off. Maybe we should do conveyors. I think conveyors would work better. Put this back in bypass mode. Yeah, let's get conveyors here. Be easier. Oops, that's not gonna work. We need you guys dumping into conveyors. Here come the rods. Alright, we've got a bunch down in here. Let's get those out. Couple down in here. Hey, you. Alright, let's give that a whirl and see how we get along. You guys come over here. We got lots of fun for you. I know I'd be better off with like 4 rod extruders, but I don't know if I really have enough room for that. Yeah, that's not the ideal splitter for ingots. You can see we got a 4-to-1 split there. Hey, we got a lot of rods cranking out, though. That's the main thing. I thought I had way more gems than that, but that huge pile ended up only being about, oh, what, 7, maybe 800 or so gems. That's still a decent amount. I do see a little bit of stuff over here. I think that's probably from the ceiling. They do bounce sometimes. But for the most part, they're going in. We're looking up here. We're still not overloading the crusher yet. These crushers seem to be able to take in a lot of ore. They work pretty well. I mean, that's working. Look at the just sheer number of rods we're pumping out. That's awesome. It works pretty well, kicking them into the conveyor. Here we go. We're over 700 rods. It's mostly keeping up. I don't like how that splits there. I'm not sure if there's much I can do about it, though. Starts pumping out the rods. Nice. All right, I'm going to put a cut in here, and like I said, it's going to take a while to record this video just because of the sheer number of things going on, but I'm going to let it run through and do the rods, and then we'll just reconfigure this. I think I'll go through each of the items for each ore, and then I can kind of figure out what production works for each one. Then once we get done with copper, I'll go back and I'll switch, you know, I'll redo all the auto mine input. Probably keep the same setup. We'll just switch which metal is coming in. And then we'll work through those. I'm going to do a big cut in here. Might be even a few days next time I record, I'm not sure. I will get it all down into one edited video. So I'll see you in a bit. It's like we're getting a little stopped up over there. Machines, I'm trying to put an edit in here. Yeah, can you do me a solid? Split up some of that mess. There you go. I'll see how this runs. I might end up editing it. Alright, let's try to put a cut in here again. So many ingots. Okay, I got a quick update. For me, it's the next day, but I've changed up the production a little bit, and this seems to be working pretty well. Shuffled things around, and this is what I've come up with. It's a little convoluted, but I've redone the way the ingots are routed. So these two are going out, and they're just doing polished ingots for that count. And then I've got a bypass here. I can either do all ingots, or I can route these two over here, and they are making rods right now. The sweeper occasionally dumps ingots off, so I've got some things set up. So it'll sell the ingot, or it'll repolish the ingot and send it back around. If it happens to fall over here, it'll go over here and get sold. So that's what's up with the conveyors all over the place. And this seems to be working fairly well. With the sweeper, I've got at least one straight here so the ingots can kind of settle down, and then they don't have any problems heading into the rod extruder. And yeah, as you can see, that's working pretty well. We're over halfway there on the rods, and well over halfway there on the ingots. So we're just going to keep chugging away. And once I get the rods done, I'll be back. Alrighty, we're done with rods. Over 5,000 now. I did a little bit of reconfiguration while it was running. I was sending 3 of the ingot makers right into rods. And the other one is doing ingots. So let's switch this to ingots. And take a little bit of finagling here. Do that. Get rid of that. We'll just have it do ingots while we reconfigure all of this. I've also ramped up the coal production. I went back in there and set up, I think, 3 more auto miners that are pumping out mostly coal. There's one that's doing a little bit of iron, one that's doing a little bit of gold. But I got the coal amped up. And some of it's still going through here to get rubies and diamonds. But I've started working on the coal ore quest. You can see there we've got 1,400. So that's chugging away. The rest of the ore is just gets sold for now. But what I plan to do is I'll switch over the auto miners at some point when we need to do the other ores. And then this one I'll extend up into the sorter. So anyway, there's future plans. But for now we're just doing copper. So let's get this tore out. And we need to do plates. I'll start with plates. This setup worked pretty well with the things around the sweeper. Kept stuff off the floor. I think we had one lonely little ingot there. Oops. Get on the belt. A few ingots got dropped here and there as we made the switch. Beautiful. So I'm thinking I might need to do 2 and 2. I don't really have a good way to bypass the ore. It might be something we should put in. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the auto miners. We'll let this sort on through. Just thinking I might extend this a little bit and put a bypass in there so I could just sell the ore while I'm working on reconfiguring production. We'll see. But we'll let that run out as the auto miners continue to come down. Let's get rid of this. We might need to rebuild this, but let's start with a blank slate. So I was thinking of doing 2 and 2. So I would probably reverse these. Oh, we just finished up ingots, so we're good. So that's my thought. We will have a corner with these 2 coming out, and that would go into a polisher. That work. Maybe we should just polish all. I think a polisher can handle 4 of these. So maybe we'd set it up like this. I'm just kind of spitballing, per usual. And then I could have a switch here. Like that. And if we want to produce, we can send them that way. If we're just going to sell, we'll just send them through that. I think that'll work, unless that would overwhelm. That might overwhelm the sorter. We'll see. Eventually that ore is going to slow down as the conveyors all empty out. So we're going to have a bunch of ingots. We're definitely going to need to split up because the plates don't do well. The rolling mills are kind of slow. So let's get the rolling mill pipe over there. This is always fun. We need a splitter. We could do that, or if we need to Might have to do that. The splitter seems to work better if you have at least one straight coming through. I think that's going to get stopped up. But we can try it. See how we get along. So then this guy could just go right into the cell. I think that will, yeah, that should go over, and then this guy can come up. No, let's do it this way. We'll have him go into there. Like that. We'll see if that'll work. I have a feeling this is going to get stopped up with too many ingots. In which case I'll have to redesign. But we'll try it. Let's go ahead and switch that over, and then let's take a look at this. Let's redo this. I want to be able to reroute the ore to just sell. Actually get this cleaned up while we're down here. The hole in the ceiling is not very precise, so it tends to drop stuff everywhere. Just send that through to get sold. So I'm thinking of putting a basket here. So let's get our basket down here. We could reroute this. Actually, you know, was there a crushed copper in there? Actually, grab one of those. So everything coming out of here should be crushed. Oh no, I don't want a sorter. What am I doing? Being a big old dum-dum is what I'm doing. I want a switch, not a sorter. I are dumb. And then this could just go over and get sold. So it would wander over through here. This is going to go away. These are going to get redone. There we go, and then that would just get over and just sell while we're sorting out other things. It's getting to be quite the tangled web here. And then we would go back up and connect into here. So let's get this sloped guy back on here. Like that, and then that gives us the option of just selling ore. So I'm going to switch that. We'll see how well that works out. And we're going to turn back on the auto miners. Get them cooking again so we can keep those conveyor belts full. Actually, I've got this. Yeah, let's do it. That's set, so we don't need to reroute. I can get back here to my switch. Alright, we got ore coming. Slowly but surely. So you can see it popping out of the ceiling there. It sometimes bounces. I thought about trying to get some chutes in there. I haven't done that yet. I don't know if they'll fit. Or if the snap point is wrong. Alright, the ingots should start flowing again here shortly. Let's get back on our little vantage point here and we'll see how badly this messes up. Takes a little bit for the ore to ramp back up, but man, once it starts going, it really goes. Here we go. We have an ingot pouring. Let's see what happens. I don't know. I don't know if this is enough room. It's my one concern. With that many ingots coming around the corner, are they going to make it when all 4 of these are putting out? And then this splitter never really splits evenly. Might need to put a sweeper in there. It might be the better thing to do. Where's my sweeper? Let's do that real quick. And then I might have to set up the arms like I did before. Capture any falling ingots. They occasionally get swept over the side or get stuck up here. Alright, I see ore starting to ramp up over there, so we should get ingot production going pretty good. Let me put a break in here and we'll see how this does at full volume. Got a little bit of a log jam here coming out of the polisher. That's kind of what I was a little bit concerned about. We'll see. The ingots are stacking up a little bit ahead of the rolling mills. Ideally, this would be like 4 rolling mills. I'm kind of out of room. Might be able to shoehorn it in here. We do have 2 lanes. I don't think I can put a machine here. Yeah, I've only got 1. Well, I could put one there. I was thinking I might route these around and then do something different with the bypass, just so there's not this blockage here. So that's an option if this becomes too much of a bottleneck. Oh boy. Yeah, we're stacking it. We're gonna have to redo this. So let's use our new ore bypass. This is just getting a little crazy. Send some of those over there. Oh boy. There's not very good options for a high volume. It's probably my one complaint with the game. Once you get up to super high volume, it gets a little bit untenable. Alright, we've cut off the ingot supply, so we're going to redo this. We're going to redo all this. We'll let that work through. And I think we need at least 4 plate rollers, so let's see if we can get a little bit creative. So if we come around here, we send it down here to get polished, and we have at least, you know, some room here. Could send them over there to get sold, actually. To the old switcheroo. Well, that's the there it is, routing conveyor. Couldn't remember what it was called. Then I can't get back, though. Can I get one here? No. Yeah, it's a little tight. A little bit tight. Okay. I could do that instead. And if we're selling, we just route over to here. if we're not selling, we're sending them back over here to get processed. So it's a little bit of a long loop, but it frees up some room and it makes this polisher work a little better. So we want you to be sending through. There we go. Actually, let's do it this way. Let's switch this back. Get the smelters ramped back up, and then we'll sell polished ingots for a bit while I sort all this out. This is going to be a long video. You probably realize that by now. So what I would like to have is 4 of the rolling mills. Well, here, let's cut out the middleman. Just dunk it in there. We should start seeing some ingots flowing again. They'll get polished, and then they will go off and get sold. So how can I get 4 rolling mills going? That's a great question. How could we do that? Let's get them set up over here. They must need to be... Those two need to be back a ways. Or I could even get... No, I can't put one there. Can we put one here? No, there's not enough room. I think we need to put these back. One slot. And then we'll see if we can we feed these? How do we get ingots into these? That's the question. Because I've got the sweeper splitter or the regular splitter. That's kind of the only option. I don't know if I can. Could I come in from the side? Maybe I'm just totally spitballing here. We could possibly come into the side and then route around. We really need at least one ahead of there, and I don't have the room to do that here. So it's definitely going to be biased towards the one side. Maybe it doesn't have to be symmetrical. I could do something else over here. I am totally just making this up as I go. No idea if it's gonna work. I mean, that gets us, in theory, somewhat split. Then we just need to split these two somehow. And then we have another guy like that splitting. But you need to be back here so you have at least one. Oh boy. Put it over here. No, that's going to be terrible. This is going to be a crime against humanity. I can already see the angry comments. It's a thing? Let's see what happens. What could possibly go wrong? Oh boy. I'd like to formally apologize for this conveyor setup. Oh man. But hey, let's see if we can get. Oh, I didn't set up the output. That would be important. No. Yeah, we want to actually capture the plates. Drag you out through here. Perfect. I'll put one here for safekeeping. Hey, we're making plates. The old adage, you know, the old Chinese proverb, if it's stupid but it works, it's not stupid. Now it looks like this is getting biased towards that side. That's the problem. These splitters are very biased. And it all just depends on kind of the angle and the timing of the ingots. That's something I've noticed. They're very biased towards one side usually. The ingots are flowing though. So far so good. I kind of want to put one of those straightening conveyors right here. If I can get a long enough pause in the ingots. I guess I could switch this real quick. Let me put one of those straightening conveyors here, just see if that helps any. Keeping this kind of somewhat orderly. So I'm going to go doink and then doink. We can switch you back. Do? Here it is. And it doesn't necessarily straighten them so much as it keeps them in the middle of the belt. And we'll see if that helps the sweep any at all. Tends to kind of nudge them into the middle. Alright, so far 4 plate. These rolling mills. I don't have my little, there's a little tool you can get. I think I sold it because I had too much stuff. Oops, wrong button. I put it in here? No. I still got some goodies in there, just for safekeeping. But there's a tool you can get, and you just point it at the thing, and it tells you what it is. But I think it's under Dev Test. Yeah, Resource Scanner. Let's get one of those. I don't think I've showed that off on the video. So this just tells you, like, literally whatever you're looking at. It can be handy sometimes. A rolling mill is what we're making the plates with. Yeah, you can see straight conveyor. Ingot straightening conveyor, polished copper ingot, upper ingot. I did discover that polish status doesn't matter for the sorter. It's just the item itself. So you can have a polished or unpolished gem in here and they'll send both that direction. I don't remember if I showed that in the video either. But anywho, this is sort of working. So I'm going to let it run. We're at 380 some odd plates. Almost 4,600 to go. We'll put another cut in here, and I'm just going to finish up the copper stuff. Otherwise, this would be like a 4.5 hour video. So I'll put a cut in here. We'll come back, and then we're going to have to somehow turn these into pipes. My thought is maybe I can go that direction and build pipes over there. We shall see. I got to let this run for an hour or more. And we'll be back. Alright, we're jumping back in here. I'm experimenting. As you can see on the copper there, we're done with everything except pipes. So I'm kind of checking to see, can only 2 smelters keep up? Now the copper throughput is down a little bit because the copper that's way back in that far cave, I've got a little pod set up making pipes. Let's just run over there and check that. So you can see what I mean. So we still got tons of copper coming in from there, but this area back here with the 2, I've got it set up to be its own little pipe pod. So it's crushing, smelting, flattening, polishing down there. And then it's just making pipes. And then I've got the gems coming up here and dropping onto the output line. So it's sending pipes and gems on down through the line. But all the other copper that we did have is still chugging through. And yeah, that's going to overflow. How badly is it going to overflow? That's the question. It's kind of a tuning game. Might have to get rid of like one auto miner maybe, because I want to optimize for pipes, and I need lots of room for pipes. So I was trying to get this to be a little more compact. This was just an experiment. I mean, it's almost there. I wonder, what if we turned off this line? Run back here. For a little while I was trying to do pipes back here, but I didn't have enough room really to sort out the gems and whatnot. So let's just turn these guys off temporarily. And I'll let that flow through, but I'm trying to get an optimal pipe set up, so we will see. And this has been over several play sessions, so this video will all be edited together at the end, but it's not one continuous session. I've had to let this thing run because it takes time to crank out 5,000 pieces. But we're getting there on the coal ore. We're about almost a fourth of the way on the coal ore. But I've been concentrating lately. I've redone everything in between edits here. But right now I've got a bunch of coal going through here to try to get our gems. Oh, we're done with gems actually. I wasn't even paying attention. So we're good to go. We don't need to do the rubies anymore. So we can redo this so the coal is just going through. So we could do that. And then if we put one of these here, would that let everything go? Maybe? And then you need to extend out over to here. It's going to get kind of crowded. But we don't need this anymore. Right now, we've got all of our rubies that we need. That's kind of less than ideal. I may want to redo that, but yeah, because it's fallen over there, isn't it? Let me extend this down. We can just get rid of that, and let's move this over like 2 slots. Like that. This interchange is less than ideal. I'll have to do some tweaking on that. Yeah, even with that other copper line turned off, we still just have too much. So I'm going to turn my bypass back on. I'm gonna have to turn off even more copper, I think. Or go back to 4 smelters and I don't think I can keep up with 4 smelters. Yeah, this is all just falling down in here. Alright, more tweaking is required. I'll be back. Hey, you'll never guess what I did. I redid things. We're making pipes now. We're cranking them out. So I still got the pipes coming in from that pod over there, what I'm calling a pod. Little self-contained unit. And I've redone everything over here. So this is no longer filtering on this side because we're done with the gems. So it's just letting all the coal and everything right on through. So that all converges onto this belt. Goes through here. Any gems, of course, still get polished and go that direction. Ore-wise, you can see everything is different now. Got a bypass here when needed, but we're cranking out pipes. So we've got ore coming all the way up here. Comes over here and it gets split off into 4 smelters, and that's running just about right for the pipes. Seems to be doing all right. So of course everything gets polished. I didn't have room, so I don't have any sorting out of slag ingots, but I'm hoping, since this is up high, that shouldn't be anywhere that can get any contaminants in here to make ingots. I'll just have to keep an eye out for those. But so they all go through a polisher, they get put into plates, and they get welded into pipes. So if I had enough room, I would just do 2 more like these, because this is a pretty nice compact setup that works well. But I don't have enough room. So I got a little crazy over on this side, but it's all working so far. So plates are flowing, pipes are getting welded. We are up to nearly 1,000 pipes. So I'm going to let this run, and then I'm going to come in. I'll probably conclude this video once we get the pipes done, because it's going to take a long time to do the other, and the other 3 are going to be just kind of a repeat of this. But I'll make a post once I get the last quest done. I might go ahead and make enough money that I can buy these trophies. I don't think I showed that yet. Let me come over here and look. Trophies. So they're $1 million each, and then this one's like basically 10 million. You can buy these trophies. I've got 1 million, so I'm gonna buy... Let's buy the Mine Mogul. Just to look at it. Yikes, that was a lot of money. Wow, it says wow. You have a spot. Wow. Oh, you can't pick it up. You can just drag it around. Okay. Fine. I'll stick you right here. My mom would be so proud. Do a screenshot of that. So I just need to make a bunch of money to buy those. But I'm going to let this keep cranking. I like this setup. It seems to be working well for the pipes. It's been running for a while now. We've got almost 1,000 pipes, and it's just cranking along. The balance seems about right for the copper ore, so I'm just going to leave this how it is. And I'll once again see you in a bit for the conclusion. Well, folks, it finally happened. We got all of the polished copper done. The setup worked great. I had to keep kind of tweaking some things. I had a bit of a jam here. I ended up redoing some of this stuff here. And I got rid of the pipes over there. The pipes were just clogging up stuff. But, yeah, it's all done. So I've turned off the auto miners. I'm going to let all this stuff calm down, and then I'm going to re-rig it for another metal type. Probably gold. I've got a lot of gold coming in. So I need to... I was pulling the coal out there because it was just overwhelming, that one splitter down there. I need to redo this. Get the gold coming in. But I want to show you the chute. I did end up hooking up a chute here, and it actually worked pretty well. So let me go up to the little room here. No, it took me a little bit to kind of figure out how those worked. It makes sense now that I've done it. But in case anybody's struggling with these, I'll just go ahead and show it. So what we have here is the top. Grab that, and then I'm going to grab these. Can I grab that? Just go ahead and pick the whole thing up, and we'll start over. Can I jump up there? Nope. Alright, we got to run back around. Grab the hammer so I don't accidentally delete something. So what you want to do to use the chute is you want to place the top one. So that's the top chute. Let's do top chute, and then we have some regular chute pieces. And we have the bottom chute. So if we place the top chute, I'm going to put it here so it can dump right in. It will then make it like a cage type thing all the way down. So let's go back over here and look at that. Yeah, man. Sneak through. And what you do is you put the chute pieces. Sorry. Had a giant sneeze. Needed to mute. So the chute pieces then fit in here. And you can just link them all up. So it kind of builds the chute. It's a little finicky, like placing most of the stuff. And then here at the bottom, you can put the bottom chute. Ta-da! And then once you put the bottom chute, like it just hooks everything together and it hooks onto whatever you got. So that worked out great. But I don't really need the copper now, but I suppose I'll just let it run so we can sell it. We'll end up getting some diamonds and stuff here and there. I am still a little short on the diamonds, so I need to put the coal back. We've got 25,000 coals. We're good on the coal now as well. So I want to re-rig the coal to go back through the wash plant. And that'll get diamonds and rubies. But I wanted to get rid of it and just run coal. Because we needed 20,000 coal. That was a lot of coal. But I think I'm going to use the same setup. Let me actually send this through. And I'll just go ahead and make plates for the next metal that I set up. Since I've already got this set. But I need to redo this back end here. It's a little bit of a mess. But I kind of like what I did. I just need to redo some of it. And I can actually get rid of all this. This was the big coal line going over there and selling. Now we need to actually process the coal. So I'm going to rework all that. I think I'll end this series here, unless people want to see more. Let me know if you want to see like one more final episode. I do plan to make enough to buy the ultimate trophy here. Once that's done, I'm pretty sure the ultimate trophy is like, wasn't it like $10 million? So I got to earn some. I did go ahead and buy, the other three. Yep. So my trophies are in here. We got the 3 Mogul trophies: iron, copper, and gold. So all that's left is to do all the iron stuff, all the gold stuff, get a few more diamonds, and then that will unlock the last trophy, and then I just have to earn a bunch of money. So yeah, this will be the end of the series, unless you want to see more. If I get enough people wanting to see more, I might make one more final episode where we're kind of just optimizing for profit, because that's what we'll need to get that 10 million. Thanks as always for watching. Thanks for coming along on the adventure. This game has been a lot of fun, and I look forward to playing it some more. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.